This video is not about Pixar. It is about you. And the one thing 3 completely different stories have been trying to tell you about your own life for the last 20 years. Joe Gardner had the dream, a real one, not a vague wish, something specific and burning that he had been carrying his entire life. He said no to everything that wasn't it. He postponed the present for a future that was supposed to make everything worth it. He kept his head down and kept going, and kept telling himself that when he finally got there, everything would click into place. And then he got there. He played the gig of his life. The crowd went wild. His name was on the marquee. And he walked outside into the New York night and felt absolutely nothing. Just silence where the feeling was supposed to be. And that silence is the most honest moment in any Pixar film, because every adult who has ever hit the milestone and waited for the feeling to arrive and felt nothing, instead, knows exactly what that silence sounds like. You've been there. Maybe not at a jazz club. Maybe it was the promotion, the relationship you finally got into, the number in your bank account you told yourself would change everything, the version of your life you worked toward for years, and you got there, and people congratulated you, and for a moment, it felt like something. And then it didn't. And you didn't know what to do with that because you had spent so long telling yourself that getting there would fix it. Joe wasn't chasing jazz. He was chasing the version of himself that finally felt like enough. And that version doesn't live at the end of a dream. It never did. He just didn't know that yet. He spent his whole life waiting to start living it. And he almost missed the entire thing. And then there is Bob Parr. Bob didn't wait. Bob built. He built the stable life, the good job, the house in the right suburb, the family that needed him, the routine that worked. He became the person everyone could count on, the one who showed up, the one who handled things, the one who never let anything fall apart, and he did everything right. And somehow, he still woke up every morning feeling like he was disappearing. Nothing was broken. Nothing was falling apart. Nobody would have looked at Bob's life and seen a single thing wrong with it. And that was exactly the problem. Because when nothing is visibly wrong, you don't get permission to feel like something is off. You don't get language for it. You don't get to say I did everything right, and I still feel empty, because that sentence makes no sense to anyone who has never felt it. So you don't say it. You just carry it, quietly, underneath everything. This low-level sense that the life you are living belongs to you on paper, but not quite in experience. Like you are moving through days that are yours, but not fully inhabited by you. Like you are a few steps behind yourself, watching it happen, instead of actually being inside it. Bob felt this every single day. You could see it in the way he sat in that cubicle, too big for the chair, too much for the room. The way he listened to the police scanner at night because the sound of emergencies made him feel briefly like himself again. The way his whole body changed when there was something real happening nearby.
We're discussing your
He is getting mugged.
Well, let's hope we don't cover him.
I'll be right back.
Stop right now, or you're fired.
And then the way it went back to flat when it was over and the routine returned. That reaching wasn't weakness. It wasn't him being ungrateful or refusing to grow up. It was a person trying to stay alive inside a life that had no room for all of him. And the hardest part about Bob's situation is that the life worked. It functioned. People depended on it. He had built something real and solid, and it was the exact thing trapping him inside it. You can't walk away from something that works. You can't justify leaving something that looks fine from the outside. So you stay. You adjust. You tell yourself this is just what being an adult feels like, and the years go. And the version of you that used to feel fully alive gets quieter and quieter until you almost stop noticing it's there. Bob didn't give up on himself dramatically. He just built a life so full of the right things that there was no room left for the thing that was actually his. And then there is Hiccup. Hiccup's story is different from Joe's and different from Bob's, but the wound underneath it is the same. Hiccup didn't chase a dream and feel nothing when he got there. He didn't build the wrong life either. Hiccup spent years trying to earn the right to just exist the way he actually was. His father was the greatest dragon slayer in Viking history, powerful, legendary, the kind of man who walked into a room and made the room feel smaller. And Hiccup was his son, scrawny, awkward, the one Viking in Burke who couldn't do anything the way a Viking was supposed to do it. And from the very beginning, there was one thing driving every single decision Hiccup made.
I see a dragon and I have to just kill it, you know? It's who I am, Dad.
Many things, Hiccup.
He wanted his father to look at him differently, not love. Stoic already loved him. What Hiccup wanted was something more specific and more painful than love. He wanted to be seen as enough. So he went to dragon training, not because he wanted to fight dragons, but because it was the only arena where his father might finally look at him the way he looked at everyone else. He built the prosthetic tail for Toothless in secret. He learned everything there was to learn. He became genuinely extraordinary, and he did all of it with one eye on his father the whole time. Every breakthrough measured against that one question: will this finally be the thing that makes him see me? You know that question. You've probably been asking it for longer than you want to admit. Maybe not to your father, maybe to someone else. A parent who never quite said they were proud. A person who left. A version of yourself you have been trying to prove wrong for years. Someone whose opinion you stopped being able to separate from the truth about who you are. You've achieved things since then, real things, and it hasn't fixed it, because achievement was never going to fix it. What you're carrying isn't a deficit of accomplishment. It's a wound from a specific moment where your value was measured and found insufficient, and the trophy goes on the shelf, and something in you immediately thinks about whether they know. The promotion comes, and something in you calculates whether they've heard. You build the life, and some part of you is always wondering whether it's the kind of life that would make them reconsider. That's not ambition. That's a ghost making your decisions for you. Hiccup does not become himself when Stoic finally approves. He becomes himself in the moment before that, in the choice he makes without knowing how it will land, in the action he takes because it is true rather than because it is strategic. That is the turning point, not approval. Just the moment he stops performing for an audience and starts living for himself. And here is what Joe and Bob and Hiccup are all pointing at, from three completely different directions. The life you have been living has an audience. Maybe it's the version of yourself you thought you'd be by now. Maybe it's someone specific whose voice you still hear when you're about to try something new. Maybe it's a standard you absorbed so early you can't remember a time before it. But there is an audience, and you have been performing for them, through the dream you chased, and the life you built, and the person you have been trying to prove yourself to. And the question all three of these stories are asking you at the same time is the same question. What would you do if you stopped performing? Not forever, not dramatically, not blow up your life and start over. Just for one decision, one honest choice that comes from somewhere real inside you, instead of from the invisible audience you have been playing to.
Truth is, I've always worried that maybe there's something wrong with me. You know, maybe I'm not good enough.
Joe found it outside the jazz club holding a maple seed. Bob found it the moment he stopped pretending the cubicle was his whole story. Hiccup found it on the back of a dragon flying somewhere his father had never told him he was allowed to go. You don't have to find it all at once. You don't have to have the answer right now. But you do have to admit that somewhere underneath the life you have built, and the dream you have chased, and the approval you have been trying to earn, there is a version of you that has been waiting very patiently for you to stop living for everyone else long enough to ask what you actually want. That version of you hasn't given up. It's just been waiting for you to come back.